Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. I have one of my own basses on the bench today. I don't very often film one of my own guitars, but lately the weather has changed in Florida, and the other day I was playing my number one, and I realized, wow, this thing is a little out of whack, and I checked the neck relief on it, and it was like a banana, which means the humidity changed. I spent so much of my time working on other people's guitars that I forgot about my own instruments. So let's get to work. I'm going to tell you about this guitar. This is the oldest guitar in my stable. It's a 50th anniversary Fender jazz bass. I've had it for every bit of its life. I think I bought it new or almost new. It might have been a year or two old. So 95 or 96 I've had it since. Don't quote me on that, but it has been my workhorse. I had it on the road for a lot of years. I did probably upwards of 1,000 gigs with this guitar. It used to be my number one. And it was literally the first guitar that I ever decided I'm going to work on myself, way back when in a previous life. I've done all kinds of mods to it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This little guy right here was literally the first mod I ever did on a guitar of my own. It's my thumb stop, and you can tell how worn out it is. That it's seen a lot of action, and I refuse to change it because I like that. That was the first thing I ever did on a guitar and changed it. Since then, I have done everything. I mean, it's got Seymour Duncans, it's got a different bridge on it. I put a new nut in it. I've refretted it. I have rewired it. I mean, I've done everything to this guitar. I call it my mama guitar. A family member near and dear to me and my family passed away. My mother-in-law several years ago now, and in my grief, I took this guitar apart and went to town on it, and that was several years ago now. But that led me down a road of doing other stuff with it. But I only relegate this guitar now to studio work. I work in my own home studio. I record with it every once in a while. It's still a fantastic instrument, but it really, I hate to say this, it pains me to say it, but my other basses that I built are better than this one. But this guitar has a tone that those guitars can't match. So, everything's a little bit different, but the same. Fender jazz bass. I digress. Short story, personal life. I was playing one of my other guitars the other day, and I realized the neck was all out of whack. It was my Thunderbird. And I go, how did that? Then I realized, how did it get so far out of whack? Well, I work on other people's guitars so much that I neglected to check my own. In Florida, we can go from a semi-arid, no humidity to the air is literally so thick with water you can cut it with a knife. And what does that do? It changes your neck relief, and it changes it dramatically. So that was the first one. Then I went and checked my number one and number two, and sure enough, both of those needed neck relief adjustments, which led me to doing whole setups on it. But that's just me. And today, this one, I go, well, if those three were like that, this one's probably like that. And sure enough, check it. The neck relief on it, and it's just, it's a banana. And that is common. And not only that, but then I write a little piece of paper whenever I change the strings and do setups on my own guitars, because I forget, because I work on hundreds of guitars and basses and mandolins and everything. I haven't changed the strings on either one of my number 1 and number 2 for a year. And I play them weekly, daily, a lot. They've got hundreds of hours on them, and that is a testament to the strings that I use. Except no substitutes. I'm going to change the strings on both of my number 1 and number 2. This guitar, because it only, this one is actually even longer than that, since it's had a string change. But we're not about that today, because this only gets played very rarely, only in the studio, only during recording sessions, things like that, when I'm looking for a specific tone. So it does not need a string change, and that's not what we're about today, but we are going to adjust this because, yeah, damn. So, yeah, we're way out of whack, and this is, this one's down here, and I know it needs to be tightened up, and I believe I can get it without taking the neck off. I'm hoping. I am hoping. It is really loose, which means I need to tighten it. And not a big fan of this. Been a Fender guy my whole life. I have one Gibson in my stable. It's a Thunderbird. I have one Fender with a Mexican neck on it that you can adjust it up here. Both of my Warmoths need to be adjusted down here, and they're a different size. This is 3/16. And I have modified this. I used to have the Fender long 3/16 that you could stick down in there with a T-handle on it. I am just kind of doing it this way. It's a ball end. And we're going to try to get some straightening action out of it, which we did. And we're going to measure again. I just played this guitar the other day, and that's what got me, oh boy, this one's out of whack too. And that has got me where I need to be. I put probably maybe a half a turn in that. When I started, the string height was around 7, 8. Scary high. For my basses, I always put them at 5. And it is still a little high. Which means all of these saddles need to come down. But before I do that, I'm going to tune it up to pitch, because I'm not 100% sure if it is. Yeah. There was an old saying, a shoemaker's shoes always have holes in them, or something like that. Well, guitar techs, guitars get ignored. Yeah, tuned right up, and the strings don't sound bad. Like I said, this guitar does not get played nearly as much as my number 1 and number 2. I would call this this is my original number 1, but I built better basses than Fender could ever build. It pains me to say that, but it's a fact. I can't take a guitar off the shelf anymore and play it and be happy. I like that. It's just kissing 12 thousandths. Now let's see where our string height is at. It's higher than I would want. It's too high. Price too high. All right, let's find our. Pretty sure. Lower everything down. Yep, this old girl's gonna need a shim. I vaguely remember the last time I did a setup on this, I was down on the low E almost as far as I could go, and I just dropped it down to where it's there. And I'm starting to see exposed set screws here, and you know my feeling on that. So, man, that might be another video. This old girl's been through the ringer. She's done a lot of shows, and you know, as wood gets older, it shrinks, and you know, that's probably why we're gonna have to put a shim in there. Not surprising. Not surprising. Well, one of my own guitars might need a shim. But I say shim to customers sometimes. I got to pull your neck and put a shim in there. And I try to explain to them the mechanics of neck angle and saddle height, and it just falls on deaf ears. They think that, oh, you got to pull my neck, my guitar is no good. Well, no. That's just part of the program, kids. Just part of the program sometimes. I got just enough out of it. Right at just over 5/64. 5, 5, 5. So the low E, I always, on my bases, always run it slightly higher because I'm a heavy plucker. I got a heavy hand, so it won't ring and buzz, and it shouldn't. And if it does a little bit acoustically, don't get freaked out. Plug it into an amp. Because if you hear it acoustically on an electric guitar or an electric bass, and it might be buzzing a little bit here or here, plug it into an amp, make sure. And make sure you have sustain at the 5th, the 7th, and the 12th, and even higher to the 17th. If you're getting sustain, it's not buzzing. It's how you play, you know. So that one is finito. Let's just check. Make sure our intonation hasn't gone cattywampus on us, which I would be surprised if it did, because I keep these instruments pretty well. G and E are flat. Got an adjustment there. Must be the guitar fairy came in the middle of the night and started moving my stuff around. Yeah, it's really flat. Okay. No problemo. So flat means the distance between here and here is too long. It's too wide. So we need to shorten it. Which means we need to loosen and move our saddle up. Much better. Mucho better. It happens. I let my own guitars languish a little bit, and I'm gonna have to chastise myself. A little bit more. A little bit more. Yahtzee. Dead on. I'm going to do that one a little bit too. I'm going to do it right. Dead on. Dead on. G was off too, yeah. Dead on. All it took was that little bit of adjustment. Yeah, I think we're going to have to, eventually I'm going to put a shim in this neck. But that is all the adjustment this guitar needed. And that's all from humidity. Dead on. Yeah, that's all from humidity. Changed the relief in the neck. Changed the relief in the neck. Yeah, now you guys know why I'm such a nut with checking that before I do anything else. Yep, it's dead on. It is dead on. Let's see if we can't get in here and play it. Beautiful. Probably going to be too loud for the microphone, but let's see what we got. Whoops. I like it. I love it. I love this guitar. I always have. I think I might start playing it a little bit more. Maybe I'll take it to the next show. By the way, that's my band name. Maybe I'll take it to the next show. And, put it through its paces live. because it sounds like a thumper. Maybe I shouldn't have left it languish as just a studio guitar. But I've got other ones that play even better than that, but I love it. So this Blackjack with 396 guitars, caught myself letting my own bass guitars languish, needing adjustment, namely neck relief, and in this case, intonation was a little wackadoo. Yeah, I caught myself and I shared it with you guys. So yeah, human, make mistakes. Wasn't paying attention. Yeah. We'll talk soon.